One of the most prominent subgenres of shooter video games, the first-person shooter, became incredibly popular through the 90s and still holds this description to this day. Unfortunately, it seems that first-person shooters have lost their innovation in current years, and developers don't seem to be having as much fun as others did back when first-person shooters were ambitious. In this video, we will be documenting some of the most influential first-person shooter titles ever made. Small-time developer id Software had just met great success with their first-person shooter Wolfenstein 3D, so they quickly got to work on their next title. Originally a game based on the Alien franchise, id decided to have more creative freedom and produce something original. The result was an incredibly addictive game where you take on the role of a lone space marine and must battle demons on an abandoned Mars base before descending into hell and taking out the enemy at their core. Released in 1993, Doom became one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time and went on to inspire many Doom clones, which dominated the FPS market for years. Shortly after, Doom was fitted with a multiplayer deathmatch mode, which also inspired numerous other multiplayer shooters in later years. Doom went on to spawn a successful franchise, with a sequel released a year later in Doom 2, a survival horror reimagining known as Doom 3, an incredibly high-octane 2016 reboot, which was then followed by a sequel called Doom Eternal. Before the release of this title, the first-person shooter genre was mostly focused on high-octane over-the-top action. Half-Life is where things changed. Developed by Valve and released in 1998, Half-Life put emphasis on its story where you play as a regular physicist named Gordon Freeman, who must escape the falling-apart Black Mesa facility while also battling hordes of aliens and military grunts. Half-Life's innovation was mainly the narrative moving along in real time without the use of cutscenes. The story happened around the player, immersing them further into the adventure. Half-Life's release influenced numerous other first-person shooter juggernauts with similar elements, such as 2K Games' BioShock. In the following years, Half-Life spawned an unforgettable franchise with 3 expansion packs, the award-winning sequel Half-Life 2, and 2 episodic expansions, which were then followed by a completely VR adventure called Half-Life Alyx. Developed by Bungie, Halo was released as a launch title for the original Xbox in 2001. It managed to have the biggest impact on the subgenre since Valve's Half-Life. Stepping into the boots of a powerful Spartan known as Master Chief, the player must explore the mysterious ring world known as Halo to uncover its secrets, whilst battling against a genocidal empire known as the Covenant. Halo featured wildly innovative controls for a console FPS. It also boasted ambitious new multiplayer modes. Halo became a flagship franchise for the Xbox brand moving forward. After major success, Halo enjoyed many years of new installments to the franchise, including 2 anniversary remakes of Halo 1 and 2, while fans of the franchise eagerly wait for the next installment hopefully coming this year. 2 honorable mentions that have also had massive impacts on the FPS subgenre, Quake and Wolfenstein 3D, both developed by id Software. Wolfenstein 3D laid the foundation for the first-person shooter, with aspects of its design still present in FPS games to this day. Quake, on the other hand, helped revolutionize player movement in an FPS and also popularized the rocket jumping mechanic that is still seen in many titles today. In conclusion, despite how overrated you may think these types of games are, it's still important to at least acknowledge them as incredibly influential and will remain some of the most enjoyable, innovative titles ever developed in gaming. Thank you for watching.